Thank you. Right. All right, to our second big story. The appeals in respect of the Ondo State Southwest Nigeria governorship candidacy for the November 26 governorship election has taken a new dimension as this three-man panel of justices hands off from the case.
Now, this move follows allegations that the justices had been compromised with a 350 million naira bribe, and that's more than $1 million to give judgment. To give judgment
to the other faction, as far as that is concerned. Let's play this report and then we come back.
The three justices bowed out of the cases following a petition written by a factional chairman of the party in the state, B. Poreye, which alleged that the justices have been compromised. Poreye, who swore to an affidavit evidence to buttress his allegations, believes that the justices have been compromised because the presiding justice, Jomai Hanatu Sankey, is prone to corruption. The petitioner further alleged that Justice Sankey had been sick for the past 5 years, and this has seriously affected her finances. Counsel to Jegede, Wale Olanipekun, expressed surprise by the development, claiming he was not copied. The senior counsel described the petition as most embarrassing because the justices had made no moves to suggest any likelihood of bias. Counsel to the petitioner, Alex Izion, on his part, asked the court to invite the petitioner to the courtroom to explain the rationale behind his petition and to make clarifications on how he came about the petition. But attempts to produce the petitioner in court proved abortive, as he was said to have fled the court immediately the issue of the petition was raised. In her ruling, Justice Sankey said it is a settled law that when a case of likelihood of bias has been raised in a petition, it has to be looked into, even if the petition is frivolous.
What happened today was that it was a deliberate attempt to obstruct the course of justice. And I've suggested to the judges in the court, allegations have been made against you. Turn over the letter to the appropriate authorities. Let them investigate. Let them also investigate the writer. And if the allegations are found to be false, to be unfounded, then let the authorities do what is right.
I categorically stated that I am not aware of that petition. And that's the truth of it. I didn't know about it. It doesn't have my premature contribution or suggestion whatsoever. But then I wanted a position where if he was in court, he should say from his own mouth who asked him to write and why he decided to write, but he was nowhere to be found.
The case file has been sent to the President of the Court of Appeal for reassignment.
Well, what do we make of all of this? It's just getting more and more twisted.
Dramatic.
Yes, and dramatic as we move on. Now, joining us from Abuja is PDP Publicity Director, Ondo State, Banji Okwomo. He is of the Ahmed Makarfi faction. Good morning and thanks for joining us again on TVC Breakfast. I wonder what you would
Good morning.
Yes. I wonder what you'd make of this, latest developments with three members of the panel, judges indicted or were allegedly compromised. What does this mean?
Well, I want to say that it was a shocking development that allegations will merely be levied against the judiciary, and the allegation has not been investigated and verified and ascertained to be true, to the extent that that will now lead to the judiciary bowing, or let me say the panel bowing to mere allegation. I want to say that they should not have, acted on the basis of that to bow out of the sitting. The reason being that this is one of the series of lies, one of the series of blackmails that we are seeing characterizing the politics in recent time. Preparatory to the release of the final list by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the same set of persons alleged that the INEC Resident Electoral Commission, commissioner in Ondo State, was asking for a bribe from them, which they could not substantiate. The allegation was in public domain, and they hyped it in the media as if something actually happened. They were able to succeed to ensure that they used their political manipulation strategy to hoodwink the process and eventually railroaded the name of Jim Ibrahim into the list of INEC.
All right, Banji.
Same set of people in the same style.
Yes, Banji.
Came after the judiciary attacking the panel.
All right, but Banji, we'll come back to you shortly. Let's go on a break, and then we come back to it for you to lay your foundation. Stay with us. All right, if you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and on this segment, we're discussing Ondo State election, the fallout of disagreements, intra-party and inter-party disagreements, and all the court cases coming up there. And someone said that the elections have not come. There are already, court cases even before the election. How is it going to be at the end?
After the elections? And we're not only looking at, the PDP, whatever is going on with them.
Yes.
This cuts across board.
Across
APC is having its own issues and all of that. Of course, these are the two main parties.
Yes, even though there are other parties in there. But,
about 30 or so of them.
Exactly. Now we have with us in our Abuja studio Banji Okuomo. He is the PDP Publicity Secretary or Publicity Director of the People's Democratic Party. He's of the Ahmed Makarfi faction of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State. Now, Banji, you were laying a foundation to the issue earlier on. Now, the point there is, what implication does this have moving forward to the election? Because we just have about a few weeks before the election.
Well, I want to say that, first and foremost, let me say to the whole world that we all are watching. We are Nigerians. We are watching the Independent National Electoral Commission very, very closely. Because Independent National Electoral Commission must prove itself to be an unbiased umpire and a body that is serious-minded, a body reputed for its activity to conduct free and fair election in Nigeria. INEC is in the eye of everybody right away in this country. And we are watching. Because I want to say that I put the whole blame of what is happening in this country today to the Independent National Electoral Commission umbrella body. And the reason is that the INEC cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. I am not a factional publicity secretary of the PDP. I am the substantive publicity secretary of PDP in Ondo State.
So how is INEC appropriating? What's that? How is INEC doing? What you've just accused them of doing now.
This is the blame I'm putting on INEC, and I want the whole world to hear me.
In what way?
In the month of September, INEC recognized the candidates presented by the authentic leadership of the PDP, which is Ahmed Makarfi, in Edo State election. Now INEC hinged its decision on the fact that the convention of the PDP had set in place a National Caretaker Committee, which is the body highest in PDP to take the decision as such. And on the basis of that, also acting on the force of the law, the judgment of Justice Liman, which has not been set aside by any appellate court in Nigeria, it acted on it to ensure that it's only the candidate of McAfee that was recognized in Edo State. Why now in the month of October, the same INEC which also monitored the primary election of the People's Democratic Party, which produced Eyicha Ojegede SAN in Ondo State and the only primary. The same INEC will reprobate by going to recognize the candidates presented by the sheriff faction in Ondo State. We can see that it is a case of approbating and reprobating at the same time. And the action of INEC, the recent action of INEC, which is it is hinging on a court order by Justice Abang. The question to ask is that is Justice Abang Court a higher court than the already decided case which has defined the leadership of the PDP?
Isn't that where the challenge is? Can you really blame INEC in this?
I'm putting the blame on
Hold
INEC.
on, Banji. Can you really blame INEC for this? INEC, hold on a second. INEC has said if a higher court comes out and says it's no longer Jimo Ibrahim but Itayo Jegede, INEC will do that because it is not within its powers anyway to decide at the end of the day. What their job is to serve as the umpire, and that's what they're doing.
My sister, let me just set this straight to you.
Go ahead.
On the last day that the INEC released the final list, there was not only one order before the INEC, there were some other court orders. Even the Justice Abang order that we are talking about, that order did not say remove the name of Itayo Jegede. The order say INEC accept Jimo Ibrahim. That is what the order says. The order did not extend to Itayo Jegede because that order or that suit, Itayo Jegede was not a party to that suit. Itayo Jegede was not involved in that suit. Even the substantive suit, Jimo Ibrahim was not involved in that suit. How come will Jimo Ibrahim now be a beneficiary of a suit that he did not initiate? So those are the issues. There were other court orders before the INEC on that day by court of concurrent jurisdiction. High Court in Ondo State restrained INEC from removing the name of Itayo Jegede. I would have expected that once a body like that, the only way it can put itself forward as a neutral body should have been for it not to do anything except we have a higher decision of court which may compel it to take an otherwise decision.
All right,
for
Banji.
INEC to be a judge making a decision again, acceding to an order and rejecting the other order.
All right.
It smacks it of its neutrality in that respect.
All right,
That
Banji,
is the area
at this
blaming
time.
the INEC. So INEC should not have done that.
All right, Banji, from where we stand right now, even though you are blaming INEC for some of the lapses in there, but are you satisfied and confident that the same INEC is going to conduct a credible, free and fair election in Ondo State on the 26th of November?
The only way the credibility of that election will not be challenged, or the credibility of the electoral body will not be challenged, is if PDP candidates in this election is not shut out. Because it is clear to the whole world that this is a calculated attempt to ensure that the PDP candidate, Itayo Jegede, does not participate in that election. And they know the implication of that. The implication of that is that the material we have, the product we have in our hands, who carries the integrity that the people of Ondo State want, is Itayo Jegede, and that's the man that we know will be able to win this election for our party in Ondo State. Now, the only thing that can give that contest a credibility is if Itayo Jegede is not shut out. Because I want to say that on no basis will Itayo Jegede's name be removed from the list, for God's sake. Why? A primary was conducted, the primary was conducted in accordance with the law. So why would INEC, that did not supervise or monitor the purported primary that was held in Ibadan, which Jimo Ibrahim claimed as the primary that put him there? So I think that INEC should have adhered to his position, which he had even taken during the Edo election. So INEC has a blame in this whole thing that is happening. And having said that, I want to say that the whole world is corruption, that this administration has hyped up as what it is fighting. There is corruption everywhere, and there is also corruption in politics. Now people are using an act of corruption, impersonating, and also using strategies to ensure that the cause of justice is not heard.
All right,
Jimo. You said something. You said something earlier. Jimo, if I may come in. Oh no, not Jimo. Please pardon me, Banji.
Banji.
You did say that you were so sure that the people of Ondo State would rather have an Itayo Jegede San as their governor. How are you able to prove this? One would have imagined that it is at the ballot or after the ballots that you can actually determine that. Now, that's on the one hand. with the squabbles going on with the PDP at the level of the party at the local level, how is this likely to rub off on the reconciliation efforts or reconciliatory efforts, as it were, at the federal level to actually get the two factions, McAfee and Limodu Sheriff, to reconcile so that the party can actually make progress?
Well, I want to say that we must be mindful of the level of apathy right now in Ondo State, the level of discontentment in Ondo State, the level of anger in Ondo State, the level of tension in Ondo State, the state of unhappiness of the people, the clear place of injustice being perpetrated against the people of Ondo State. This is very clear. We are before the Court of Appeal. We were not involved at the High Court. We were shut out. Judgment was obtained in secrecy. Plaintiff went to court on a matter that will affect the interests of other people and never in any way joined them or accused them or brought them into the matter. They got a judgment increased in secrecy in a collusion case of where the plaintiff lawyer was also the defendant lawyer. So we are before the Court of Appeal to challenge the legality of that matter to say that there is a very serious injustice in that. So as Banji, we are before the Court of Appeal, we believe that the justice will be done.
All right, Banji.
Law, we believe that justice.
You're watching TVC Breakfast. On this segment, we're discussing Ondo State election, the matters arising from all the court cases in there and the intra and inter-party squabbles going on there. We have Banji Okomo with us in our Abuja studio. Banji, let me ask you this. Now, if the scenario of the fact that, well, INEC has adopted Jimoh Ibrahim so far, at least so far, Jimoh is still the accepted or maybe the adopted candidate of the PDP. If it is upheld into the election on November 26, will you be part of the election process?
My brother, election is November 26. We are right before the Court of Appeal. The first panel has been blackmailed and it has decided to hands off the matter. Unfortunately, the petitioner who swore to affidavit that he will prove beyond reasonable doubt those averments of his affidavit cannot be found. While we were at the Court of Appeal that day, he was at the Court of Appeal with his candidates right in the premises of that place. At the beginning of the hearing of the matter, the petitioner disappeared, and the panel decided to hands off honorably on their own part of honor. I also want to say that the only way we will believe that the course of justice will not be perverted is that the petitioner himself must be brought to book to come and give account of the content of the petition, where he has alleged our own leader, the leader of our party in Ondo State, of offering bribe to the judiciary, and which, of course, His Excellency the Governor, through the CPS to the Governor.
Banji, the question is, Banji, the question is, will you be part of the election if Jimoh Ibrahim is upheld into the election?
My brother, we are before the law. We are challenging the decision in court. We believe that we will get justice in court. We believe that Jimoh Ibrahim is not our candidate. We didn't vote for him. He is not a member of our party. So we believe that should the Court of Appeal take his decision, if it's not blacklisted and hands off this matter, because we are aware that Jimoh Ibrahim is also brandishing Supreme Court. I don't know how someone will bypass the Court of Appeal and go to the Supreme Court to say that a panel must not sit on this matter. Okay. So we believe that as long as the judiciary remains the last hope of the common man, having surrendered ourselves before the Court of Justice to challenge the legality or otherwise of the decision taken, it is our fervent belief that we will get justice in the court, whether at the Court of Appeal, whether at the highest court.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there.
Belief. We are contesting this election on the platform of PDP.
All right, thank you very much, Banji Okomo, Publicity Secretary of the PDP there in Ondo State, speaking to us about all the build-up, of course, to the Ondo November 2016 26 election.